How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. You got time for an interview?
Sure.
Okay. Do you go to Reagan, or did you go to Reagan?
My freshman year.
Okay. Do you have time? You have time to do an interview? You said. Okay. Thanks. I'm Anthony.
I'm Nick.
What's up? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
How far did you go?
I just did the main loop.
Okay. I'm not with the trail or anything.
Oh, what are you with?
I have kind of an interesting hobby. I'm doing something called street epistemology, which is I'm practicing this conversational technique for exploring a deeply held belief that you're sure is true. So I talked to a lady last week on the trail. She says that whenever you see a cardinal, it's a deceased relative that's coming by to say hello. I've talked to people about karma. I met a Mormon couple. They believe that Joseph Smith is a prophet. Whatever the belief is, I ask questions to figure out how you could be so sure that it's true. So,
Dang, so I have to think about what's like one of my beliefs that I know for a fact is like.
yeah. When it's a belief that's very tied to your identity, who you are and how you behave, those are sort of tend to be the more interesting chats. But we can talk about anything. Your view on a political topic.
I'm not really like a political person. I'm more like I believe like you know like how people say things happen for a reason. I really really believe it, but because like there's like coincidences that I don't see as coincidences.
I would love to chat about that.
Like, let's say.
Can I record it?
I mean, sure.
Okay, thank you.
Watch.
And I'd like to. I'll wait till they go by because I don't want to get the baby on the camera. I'm gonna turn it this way. Yeah, that's good. Thanks. You believe that everything happens for a reason?
Yeah.
I was watching this movie. It's like Netflix, I think, or I'm not sure if it's on. It's called Ozark, and one of the main characters was going on and on about that. I thought that was an interesting kind of topic.
Yeah. Like I really believe things happen for a reason, and then like the universe has like a way of trying to keep you on track. Basically, like let's say I have a goal, and I know I'm supposed to keep on track with that goal, and I'm like, I'm not gonna spend this much money or something, and then I'll be on track with my goal, and I'll be like, well, I'll see something that I want.
That'll be fun.
And I'll be like, oh well, I can get it. Like it's like $10, like I can get it.
Yeah.
And then I go, and either it's not there, or they don't have it in my size, or something like that. And I just leave it alone because I'm like, okay, well that's just the world saying you didn't need it.
Okay.
Or like if I wanted to go somewhere, and it's like I kind of didn't feel right about it, and then I go, or like there's a way that I can't get there. Like I don't have enough money for gas, or there's another plan, or there's somewhere else I have to be. Like work calls me and I'm like, oh, I can't go.
Okay, and then you getting called into work is preventing you from doing something that you wanted to do?
Well, something that I wanted to do, but I wasn't supposed to. Yeah, like something that was going to be off track of my goal. Like going somewhere that I know I'm not supposed to be. But I wanted to be there,
okay.
I'm not supposed to be there.
Okay. Can I get a sense of how sure you are that this belief is really true? 0 to 100?
100.
There's no question in your mind?
There's no question
that it's true?
in my mind that the world has like a way of like trying to keep us on track.
Okay. Does that apply to everybody or just you?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe other people don't see it, but I see it. Like, I see it real quick. Like, okay, let me stay away from that. Or I was supposed to do that.
Okay, so
I would feel like it would be with everybody. Like, if y'all just look.
Okay, you think people aren't just noticing that this is happening? So there are some people that don't notice that it's happening? Okay, so not only does this thing happen to you, but you'll notice other people. I'm trying to think of an example. Like there's that couple over there with the kids, and they're here today. Are they here today for a reason? Probably?
Probably.
Okay.
I mean, it's all in the little things. Like the little things, like they all add up. I'm definitely here for a reason. I don't know what it is yet, maybe it was for this interview.
Okay. Is everything that happens to you for a reason? Okay.
Either you definitely learn from everything, or you're supposed to be somewhere. You know what I mean? Just like it all correlates. Like everything that happens in life, it all correlates. Oh, okay. I forgot to tell you this.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say that I do go off a track with something, like if like I was saying, like if I was supposed to be saving money and then I went out and bought something, because the world always does this. The world will do this where, like I said, either it won't be there or I'll have to go out of my way to get it. Like the easy way to get it, it wasn't available for me. But I have to go out of my way. Like I have to go to another store, I'd have to go talk to somebody else to get it or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went out of my way to do like go against something.
Okay.
And then I take like 5 step backs in life, period. Like I'm a server, so I'll go to work and it'll be like a Saturday. And a Saturday, like you usually break a bill and I'll make like $30. And I'll be like, what the hell? But I'm like, well damn, maybe that was because, or like, let's see what happened. What happened like 2 months ago was I was not supposed to go on a trip to Houston because it was out of my budget, but I went. And everything was cool, and then I came back, and when I came back, I had 2 flat tires in the same month. And I was just like, Nick, this is what you get. Like you knew,
okay,
you weren't supposed to. Now you don't have the money to fix these tires.
Okay. I got you. So you're going through life, and all these things are happening to you, and then when they happen, you're drawing a connection between them.
I'm drawing a connection between everything.
Is the connection that you're drawing something that you're making up in your mind, or something that's actually real?
There's got to be real. What I just tell you, all this stuff is happening. It's definitely real. It's not like what are you trying to say? Like
I guess what I'm wondering is
the line, like the connection between everything. Like,
yes. What I'm wondering is how are you determining that all these things, all these.
I don't believe in coincidences. That's why.
Yeah. It's impossible for anything to be a coincidence.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've never actually seen like a real coincidence. Like I've never been like, this is just a coincidence. Like no, there's a reason.
That airplane flying over right now, to hamper the audio of me talking right now, was intentional?
I don't know about all that.
Well, if there's no such thing as coincidence.
I thought a coincidence was like, what am I trying to say? I thought a coincidence was like whenever, shoot, I can't put my words together now. What is your definition of a coincidence? And then I'll see if I thought the same thing.
We could probably look it up in a dictionary.
Oh, I have a little shitty phone and I don't have no internet right now.
Okay, so a coincidence I might define it as an unintended consequence.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
So is everything that happens to you?
I don't believe in anything unintended. I don't believe in that. Coincidence.
There's intention behind everything. Even that airplane that flew over while I was talking to make it difficult for you to hear me and anyone listening to this to hear me, that was intentional.
Yeah. Because if that wouldn't happen, then you wouldn't have asked me that question, and then we wouldn't have thought about it, and then we wouldn't have came up with the idea. Like we wouldn't have came up with what the meaning of coincidence is. Are you following me? Like,
could you explain it a little better?
Okay, if that airplane wouldn't have came over, then you wouldn't have asked me if it's a coincidence that the airplane is flying over and like messing up the sound.
Yeah.
And then what happened? Then we thought about what coincidence was. Like we thought about the exact meaning of what a coincidence is.
We wouldn't be here right now where we are in this conversation if that airplane hadn't flown over. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying we wouldn't have came to the conclusion that coincidences are unintended things. We wouldn't have came to that conclusion.
Okay.
Like, it's like the little things. Like, I put a connection through all the little things, because there is one. There's a connection through every little thing.
Connections. How do you know that these things that you're drawing, these connections that you're drawing, are really happening and they're not just coincidences?
I don't know how to answer that. I just really just don't believe in coincidence. I don't believe in anything happening unattended. Like, it's just never happened to me. There's never been anything in my life that's happened to me where it was unintended or it was just a coincidence. Like, everything's happened for a reason. Every single thing in life has happened for a reason. There's a reason why this happened, and then because of that happening, this happened. Like, even the little things.
What would a coincidence look like?
What would a coincidence look like? Okay, I guess a coincidence would look like let's just, I don't know, like a coincidence. Like, let's just say, okay, so being a server, some days you're like you're on the schedule, but then some days you'll come into work and you'll be extra. And an extra means you were just here in case somebody didn't show up. And so then if that person didn't show up, you're gonna take their section.
Okay.
So let's just say it's a coincidence would be if I came to work and I was extra, but I needed gas money. And then there was a guy named Zach on the schedule, and he came to work, and he was on the schedule, but he had somewhere to be. So he got to leave, and I got to take his section. Like, he came to work, and he was like, hey, like, I don't want to work today. I have somewhere to be. Who's extra? Who wants to take my section? Like, I guess in some people's mind, that would be a coincidence that Zach had to be somewhere when Nick needed money.
Would you see it in your mind as a coincidence?
Hell no, I needed money. So that's not a coincidence.
Okay.
Like, that's good. That's intended.
Is there no way for you to tell if something actually was a coincidence?
I feel like if something was a coincidence, is there no way for me to tell if there actually was a coincidence? No, I don't think there is a way to tell. Because coincidences are fake. That's not a real thing. Coincidence. No. Everything happens for a reason, so there would be no way for me to tell if something was a coincidence. Because it won't happen.
If you have no way to tell that something was a coincidence, how could you be so sure that you haven't seen it?
If there was no way for me to tell that something was a coincidence, how could I be able to what?
If you don't have a way to tell if something actually was a coincidence, how could you be so sure that you haven't already seen one?
I don't know. You got me there. If I actually saw them. I don't know, because at the end of the day, I don't believe in them, so I don't think I would. Yeah, it just all goes back to I would never see a coincidence because they don't happen.
It's like a real hype song. Yeah. It's big hype.
Do you think that your view on intended consequences and coincidences is true simply because you believe that it is true?
Yeah.
Does just believing that it's true make it true?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. When it comes to something like this.
What was the other server's name? Zach?
Yeah, Zach.
Let's say Zach is here with us, and he believes that there's no such thing as connections and everything happens for a reason, that it's all coincidence. And he just believes it. He believes that it's true.
Okay, so...
Would he be correct?
No. Because, alright, so if everything is a coincidence and, like, there's no such thing as, like, connections and intended consequences and all that stuff, then what is a life of just coincidences? Like, what is a life of just...
What would it look like, you mean?
Yeah, like, what is a life where everything just... Is it just a coincidence? Like, there's a life where nothing was intended.
I thought somebody said hello. My name is Anthony, and I thought they said, hey, Anthony.
Oh, yeah, I could have heard that.
Did you hear that too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, what is a life where there's no intentions or nothing intended happens? What type of life is that?
What type of life do you think it would be?
A lame-ass, boring life.
Is life more exciting and meaningful to think that there are connections and that everything has a reason for it?
Yeah, definitely. Life is very exciting. It's very, and then it's way easier to keep up with because you can keep up with, okay, because this happened, this happened, or because I didn't do this, I missed out on this, or because, you know what I mean? Like, it's way easier to track your your own steps in life if you can keep up with things that can happen.
Okay. Life for you is easier to understand and deal with if you think that everything is happening for a reason and that these are not coincidences. Okay. Does it mean that it's actually true?
Yes, sir, Anthony. Yes. Can I have one of your water bottles?
I would love for you to have one. What would a life look like for you if you stopped believing that everything was happening for a reason and that these were just coincidences?
For me, what would a life for me look like? Unorganized, messy, because I wouldn't be able to keep track of anything if everything is a coincidence.
Believing that things are happening for a reason helps you keep track of things.
Yeah. Because the connection. If I can keep that line of connection, then I can keep track of everything.
Yet, I think you currently don't have a way of knowing or discovering that these things are coincidences, if they were.
Right. Because I don't believe in them, so I don't even worry about that.
Could a person not believe in something, but that something actually be true?
No, because you don't believe in it. Well, I mean, it could be true to other people, but not true to them, because like you said, they don't believe in it, so.
Well, I guess what I'm wondering is, let's say that you believe that armadillos are live bears, and I believe that they're egg layers. Would you agree that one of us is mistaken on that?
Wait. You believe that they're what?
I'm going to believe that armadillos lay eggs.
Right, and
So
I believe that
they're live bears.
That they just like mammals.
They just squirt them out live.
Oh, well, I don't think armadillos lay eggs. All right, so now that's different because it's about It's like about that's about facts. Like there's a fact that armadillos. I don't know. Do armadillos lay eggs? I don't think so. I think
don't even know.
armadillos They're like mammals, like they don't lay eggs.
I'm not even sure. But in this instance, is it possible that we're both mistaken on it? Like maybe there's some other way that they do it.
No, one of us is definitely right and one of us is wrong.
Okay. If I strongly believe that they lay eggs, and in fact they give their birth live, and you're correct, would you agree that I'm mistaken by me believing that they lay eggs?
Yeah, because you're believing in something that's not a fact. Yeah, you're believing in something that's not a fact. Like there's already a fact. Like there's like it's a fact that they don't lay eggs. So you're just believing that they lay eggs, but to no avail because it's already been written. It's they don't lay eggs.
Okay. We could test it, right? We can talk to experts.
Right.
We can observe them. Is that right?
So, but you just keep on believing, like, no, they lay eggs. Like.
Okay. And yet, it sounds like what you're saying is that if a person believes something and they think it's true, that it makes it true.
In this instance, in something that's not like factual, like there's no theory or hypothesis or conclusion or none of that to this right now, then yeah, this is true just because I say it's true. Until I'm proven wrong, it's true.
Until you see a coincidence.
Until I see a coincidence. Until I actually see one of these coincidences, then yeah, I don't believe in them. My mom's from Missouri. That's the show me state. So if you don't show me a coincidence, then I don't believe in it.
Why are you not applying that logic to your conclusion that everything is happening for a reason?
Because I've seen that everything happens for a reason. I've seen that everything happens for a reason. Like I've seen the line, the connection line. I've seen it. Like, I can literally write down some things off the top of my head. Like, I can write down.
Well, you give this great example of you going to Houston and then coming back and having 2 flat tires.
Yes, in a month. Like,
help me understand how you linked the 2 flat tires to you doing a trip to Houston.
Well, because I knew for a fact I was going out of my means to go on this trip to Houston. Like, I knew I was like, Nick, you need to save more money. You can go to Houston later. Like, you have other things you need to do. You have other things that are way more important. You have priorities. And a trip to Houston is not on your priority list. So for me to go out of my way to do this trip to Houston, and then I come back and I have 2 flat tires, and now I'm riding on the spare, and all this other stuff, and I can't pay for the tire. Why? Because you didn't went on this trip to Houston that you weren't supposed to go on. And then like the way that the tires, like the flat tires happen, like I didn't get a flat tire because I wasn't taking care of my car. The first time it was at Walmart, and somebody slashed me in the car next to my tires.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Then the second time, I was driving with my friend, and this big old red truck was like, she was so high up she could not see my little car. So she made me hop a curb. But then, she paid for my tire. Like at the end of the day, she paid for that tire, but she couldn't get it done that day. So it was like, there was still complications. Like, you know what I mean? Like I still, even though I didn't have to pay for the tire myself, but that was time wasted where I didn't have a car.
Yeah.
And time is something you can't get back. So that's like the biggest waste of all.
So I understand that these things have happened and you experienced them. And I'm sure it was a frustrating thing to have experienced. What I'm trying to understand is, how did you determine that because those events happened, that it was some sort of payback for going to Houston? That it was something that you deserved? It was something that happened for a reason?
Because, I don't know, like, let's just say, like,
do you want to move in the shade just a tad? Are you good where you're at? Are you in the sun?
I mean, I could be in the sun.
Do you want to move in the shade here?
Definitely.
Because I'm
I
burning
am
up.
darker, so actually the light should be on me. But
Do you want me to repeat the question?
no, like I remember the question, but I mean, like, okay, so like whenever you're younger and your parents like they see what's gonna happen, but you don't see it. Like they've been through it, so they know it's gonna happen. So they're like, oh well, what if this happens or what if this happens? Like that's like a what if thing. Like, oh, what if I spend my money on going to Houston and then I need my money for something more important, and then boom, it happens. I need my money for something more important, but I don't have it because I went to Houston. So yeah, I definitely see a correlation.
I understand that you're drawing a correlation between it. You get the 2 flat tires and like, damn it, that's because I went to Houston.
Because what is a coincidence that you get 2 flat tires a week apart from each other in the same month?
If it was 1 flat tire instead of 2, would you think it was a coincidence?
No, because the first flat tire I had to pay for. So, no. No, I definitely wouldn't have thought that because I would have been coming out of pocket for it and I didn't have the money.
I know.
So I still would have been like, even if it was 1 flat tire, I still would have been like, damn, I should not have went on that trip to Houston. Like, this is what I get. Now I need my money and I don't have it because I was at the Galleria. But then just the fact that that happened and then another one, I was like, okay, Nick, like you need to slow it down.
Who do you think, or what do you think is making sure all this stuff is happening?
The universe.
It's your position that the universe is making sure that you get 2 flat tires so that you reflect on you going to Houston?
Well, I mean, that's just the way that the universe did it, but I do think that the universe is like, well, we're trying to the universe is thinking, look, I'm trying to keep you on this track. You went out of your way to get off it, so I'm going to show you what happens when you get off, whenever you get off your track. This is what happens, this is your consequence. If you would have just done like you're supposed to, like the way that we have it planned out for you to do, if you would have just stayed on track, everything would be good. But because you went out of your way to do something else, you have to take 2 steps back. So you can reflect on what happened. Maybe you won't do it again. Like I told you, like it's a track that the universe sets us on, and I easily could have not went on it. I easily could have not went on it. Like I had to get what happened because I had to do a lot of stuff to get ready for that trip to Houston that I wouldn't have to do regularly if I would just stay my ass at home and kept going to work and saving money. So I went out of my way, and that's what happens.
If this wasn't the universe trying to keep you on track, and it was something that you're making up in your mind to explain things, what would it look like?
What would it look like?
What would these connections that you're drawing look like if you were making them up and it wasn't the universe trying to keep you on track?
What would the connection look like?
How would the situation be any different if you were making this up and there wasn't the universe keeping you in line, keeping you on track?
I don't know. What would the situation look like if this was not the universe? Like if it was just like what? If it was coincidences?
Not even necessarily that. Let's say that every instance that you're concluding is something happening for a reason because the universe wants to keep you on track. Let's say that that's not really what's happening, and it's your mind drawing those connections and coming to those conclusions. If it was you doing it and it wasn't the universe keeping you on track, how would it look any different than what you're doing today?
I mean, it wouldn't. Like at the end of the day, it wouldn't. It wouldn't look no different. It would look the exact same. Like it would be the same situation. It's just that, I guess, like you said, it just wasn't the universe. It was just a coincidence. But I mean, I'm too deep into it. Like, I've been thinking like this for so long that there has to be like that. Nah, until I'm proven wrong, like, this is how I'm gonna think, this is how I'm gonna have my kids thinking, my grandkids thinking, because, like, it's just, there's no coincidences in this. Like, there's a line, like, I showed you, there's like a connection line, and if you just keep track of that line, then yeah, it's easier to go through life. Because I mean, like, I know, like, some people are like, yeah, you just go through life, like, you know, but no, that's hard. That's hard. How you gonna keep track of anything?
I want to kind of summarize where we're at. Okay, so you have this position that everything happens for a reason. There's no way that it can be a coincidence because you don't believe in coincidences. If coincidences were a thing, and these actually were coincidences, you're currently unable to describe what a coincidence would be, so you can chalk them up to coincidences. You currently, because you don't know what a coincidence looks like, you can't recognize if you've actually seen one. On top of that, you believe that the universe has you on a track, and yet this belief that the universe has you on a track and is making these connections or making these things happen is identical to what it would look like if you were simply making these things up in your mind.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, I mean, like, at the end of the day, it's gonna happen either way. It's just how you look at it.
Okay. What I'm trying to understand here is simply believing that it's true, making it true. Back to the whole armadillo thing we were talking about.
Okay, but no. Like, in this circumstance where there's no factual evidence that it's not true, there's no hypothesis, there's no conclusion, like, there's no, what is that list of things that you have to go through before you can actually make something a fact, like, not a theory? You know what I'm talking about?
Scientific method?
Yeah, scientific method. There's no scientific method behind this. But there is a scientific method behind armadillos giving live birth. So yeah, in this, yeah, just me believing in this makes it true. Yeah, scientific method, that's what it is. There's no scientific method behind whether coincidences are true or not, or whether intended things are true or not. But until there is, then yeah, just me believing in it is going to make it real.
Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah.
Let me give you a card. Thank you, Nick.
Thank you, Anthony.
Feel free to email me.
Okay.
Well, what do you say to that other than profound disappointment? You know, if you're ever looking for a way to upset me, demonstrate a willingness to teach young people a belief that you have no way of determining if it's true or not. This conversation was a real struggle for me to keep my friendly skeptic hat on. I was really trying to be neutral, but it's so difficult when you hear somebody double down, triple down on something that cannot be demonstrated to be true in his own words. I will give Nick credit for being open and honest about his beliefs. It seemed apparent that the meaning of words were important to him. He took the time to really think about his responses, and he repeated things back for clarity. Yet, if we're going to make any progress at all on this topic or others, there has to be a discussion about whether or not we are justified in asserting that something is true if we are unable to test it using the scientific method. Now, if we ever have a chance to meet again, I do think it could be valuable to have a discussion on how Nick feels about saying, I don't know, when we don't know the answer to something. So again, that was a terribly frustrating talk, and I am hopeful that the next time he runs into somebody where they talk about how things happen for a reason and coincidences, that he might end up giving it some more thought.